guys, this is Ricky from Ricky's Pretties. If it's been a little while since I did a vid, but back today to do another one. If you're new here, thank you for joining me, and if you are not new and you've been here before, then welcome back. Today we're going to be decorating this canvas. It's an 11 by 14 canvas, and I've got several things we're going to be using today. I've got an applique. I've got some rice paper. I've got some pretty lace that's sequined with little pearl beads. And I've got this beautiful napkin. I have some more lace over here. I've got a bowl full of goodies. I've got some little paper mulberry flowers and some leaves and various colors. And then I've got another applique here. I've got a little round lace flower that I put together, and I'll probably pair that up with this cameo. And I've got some bling, little love bling, and some corner lace pieces here, and a little, I may use this. I don't know if I'm going to use it or not. I may cut it up and put little pieces of it here and there. And then I've got a butterfly stencil. As we know, I like butterflies. And then I've got some tools over here that we might need. Some little fussy cut scissors. And I've got some gesso over here. And I've got some acrylic paint that I use. And that's partly why I haven't done a video in a while. I had some commissioned work that I had to get done. I do acrylic paintings and stuff, which is why I have this kind of acrylic. I know you guys use the craft acrylic in the little bottles, but once you learn to mix your own paints, you can save money by buying these. These are like $4.99 each, and it doesn't take much. And sometimes you can get these on sale, and it doesn't take very much to mix up your own. One of these days I think I might do a color wheel for you guys to show you how to mix your paint, and then you can save some money. You won't have to buy 50 bazillion little bottles of craft paint to get the color you want. You can just mix your own, and you'll have a better variety that way too. So but today we're going to be using these. I've got some blue, some rose color, some orange, and some white. And I've also got some Mod Podge on the side over here and some gloss varnish. If you'll give me a minute to get this cleaned up a bit, we'll get started. Okay guys, the first thing we want to do is prime our canvas, and for that I have the gesso here. Gesso is a primer for acrylic canvases. Some of these are already coated with gesso, but I just want to make sure that I've got a good coat on here. So I'm going to just slather this on with a spatula. You can be fairly liberal with this. This will give it some texture too and help it look more like an actual painting instead of just something you put things on. So we want it to have a little bit of texture, so that's what we're doing with this, especially around the edges. For this particular project, we want a little bit of texture here and there. To get texture, you can apply texture gel before you do the gesso, but I don't think it's necessary. I think you can just achieve the same effect with the gesso. So we're putting it on fairly heavy, and we're just using broad strokes to put it on. And once we get our canvas covered, we'll need to let this dry before we continue on to the next thing. Hope everybody's had a good week. It's been raining here. I was gonna go do some Uber Eats. I do that every now and then, but I didn't feel like delivering food looking like a drowned rat, so I decided against that, and I decided in favor of making a new video. So that is what we are doing today. I'm sure I'm glad you guys came to see me today. Don't abandon me. I promise there will be more videos. And we'll be doing all kinds of neat things here, so stay tuned. I will try my best not to let you down. Okay, so here we go. We are almost all done with this. You can put a little bit around the edge too. I mean, it's not really that necessary. We are going to be going around the edge though, so if you want to do that, you can use a brush for that. This is looking pretty okay. Acrylic is fussy. You don't want to start working it too much because it'll start getting cranky with you and not doing right. So what we need to do now is just let this dry. I'm just trying to make sure I got all my little edges covered here. Yep, got it on the table. It's okay. It's water-based. It will clean up. Okay, guys. So this is it for now. And we're going to let this dry, and then we will be back. Okay guys, we're back and our canvas is dry now and ready for our next step, which is to apply our rice paper. I've got some Mod Podge. I did mix a little bit of water with that because I don't want it to be, I don't want it to be super thick, but I also don't want it to be runny either. Not completely runny, so it needs to be able to go through the paper. So I did thin it out just a little bit. And I want to tear around my image. I don't want to cut it because it will blend easier if we tear it. So I'm just going to go around and tear a little bit off around our edges. And I want to make it kind of uneven. I don't want it to be like a square, so I don't want the image to be square. So I'm just kind of, kind of making it a little more torn in some places, just kind of giving it a shape that's not rectangular or square. Because I don't want it to look like, I want it to look like it's torn. I don't want it to look like we tore a square. Basically, I don't know how else to describe that, but that's what we want to avoid. And we're going to lose some of our little images here, but that's okay. We're going to save those scraps and we'll use them on something else later. Scraps are great to use for journaling and all kinds of projects. So I'm going to tear quite liberally from that area. I want to keep my little bird though, so I don't want to tear too much off of him, but I do want him to be torn slightly. Same goes for these flowers over here. I don't want to lose all my little flowers, but I do need to tear them a little bit. Almost there. There's still a little bit more to go here. Okay, that looks pretty. going to set this a little, no, we'll set it like right here in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put down a little bit of the Mod Podge under it. We're just going to go over it, pressing down good. You don't have to be as careful with this rice paper as you do with a napkin. So you can press down really good to get the wrinkles out. You can even stretch it a little bit, which is super handy. Can't do that with napkins. I may have to get a different brush. This brush had some stain in it that wouldn't come out when I washed it, but now it's starting to come out since I'm using Mod Podge. Go figure. Ain't that the way of it? But I don't know, it might help the image to look older, so I may just not worry about it. We'll just kind of go along as we are. A little stain won't hurt anybody. Might even help. We'll find out. What we don't want is air bubbles. I'm just going to smooth this down as best I can and get out air bubbles. This paper is thicker than what I'm used to. It's not a very thin rice paper. I just want to peel up there. That's okay. We are going to paint around this, so I'm not real worried about it. I do want to get it smooth as possible, so we'll continue on with our Mod Podge on top. That is just trying its best to wrinkle up on me, isn't it? It is. I can get it not to do that, that would be great. I'm ripping it. Let's not tear it, Rick. I did forget my saran wrap though. That is what I usually use, and I forgot to get it. It's not on here. I want that on there. I don't really want that to show. We are going to paint that anyway, but I don't want it to show, so I'm going to blend it where I tore that. Make sure you go over your edges really good. You don't want any bubbles if you can help it. You are going to have some raised up spots because of, you know, the way that we did the canvas underneath. So if you do wind up with a wrinkle here or there, it really doesn't matter. So not for this project. So I really wouldn't worry about it too much if you get a wrinkle. I'm not going to worry about it. You're not really going to be paying attention to them anyway when we get all finished. You just don't want air bubbles, so make sure you smooth out air bubbles best you can. There's a bubble. Just going through, pushing this down through the paper, making sure there's no bubbles. Okay guys, I'm going to let that dry and then we'll be back. Okay guys, we're back, and while I was out, I let the initial coat of Mod Podge dry, and then I went back and went over it again with full strength Mod Podge over the top, and I stuck it in the oven at 175 for about 10 minutes. You don't want to leave it in there for any stronger temperature than that, or any length of time longer than that, otherwise your canvas is going to buckle. So don't leave it in there too long, and don't go over 175, but it does help the Mod Podge to set and dry faster, which is exactly what I wanted. This is looking really good. I kind of like the wrinkles in it, and I kind of like that it's got, after sanding, it's got a really aged look to it. It looks old, and I love that. So I'm really, really pleased with how this is turning out. Now we're going to paint it, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. We're going to need some white. Lots of white. We're going to need just a little bit of blue. We're not going to get out too much of this because we're not going to need very much. And we're going to get a little bit of pink. We're going to get just a little bit of that because we're not going to need very much of that either. And we're going to get a little orange. A little more of that because we're going to mix that in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my smaller brush to mix this stuff up. And what we're going to do is we're going to stay with the cool tones over here and the warm tones over here. So we're going to kind of go with what's on the picture. Okay, so I'm going to start with this side. And I'm going to get some white. And then I'm going to dip into my pink, just barely, a little pink. Don't need much. And I'm going to mix that up and see how warm or cool that is. It's very cool, so we need to warm that up. We're going in the right direction, but we've got to warm it up. And to do that, we're going to add some orange. A little bit of orange. And I think I got too much. We're headed in the right direction, though. So let's keep going with this. We're going to get a little more pink. We're probably going to have to add some white back to it. What we're aiming for is a peachy pink to kind of go with this. And to tone it down, which we're going to do, blue and orange are opposites on the color wheel. So to tone this down and to make it more muted, you would think that you would mix brown with that, but no, you're going to mix just a tiny little bit of blue, and you don't need very much, so we're going to just do a little bit. When you mix those together, they basically cancel each other out, and they make a more muted tone, which is exactly what we wanted. And I'm going to mix in a little more white, and we're going to just make several values in here. So we're going to have some lighter, some darker areas. Good. And we're going to have some really light. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to use our sponge brush. I needed some water in here and I forgot to get it. And we're going to dab this on. And we're just going to kind of blend it into our picture. I'm going to go lighter, dab into the white a little bit, and go lighter up here in the corner. Lighter still as we head over this way. And we're going to fade that into blue, so now we're going to keep going down here and just keep dabbing this on here. Stabbing. Stabbing, dabbing. We're just going to keep going around and blending this in. And we might even add a little more blue to some of this to mute it out even more. A little more orange. And we'll see what that does. And I like it. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep adding some of this. We want to mix it up a little bit, basically, so we're going to do that too. We're going to dab some blue in here. Darker in different places. A little more orange here and there. especially up here. And what we're doing is just kind of getting a muted effect that will blend in with our canvas. And we do want to go ahead and go around the edges, but we'll do that here in just a minute. Before I mix the blue, I'm going to go get some water real quick, guys, and I will be right back to finish this. Okay, guys, I'm back. I'm sorry. There's always something that I forget when I'm doing these videos, and water is just one of those important things. You have to have water when you're working with acrylics because they get dry if you don't have water. And that wasn't working out very well, so I'm going to go ahead and dab some blue, muted blue in here and start getting ready for that. Oops, there goes my light. I've got a touch lamp over here, and if I hit it, it goes off, as you just saw. This is looking pretty good though, y'all. It's blending in nice. I like it. I like it. I like it. I'm going to do a little bit more of that orange right in here. Just kind of warm this pink up some more down in this area. And if you get too much, don't worry, it blends out. And that looks pretty good, I think, so far for our pink. I did go ahead and get some green because this area is a little more green, and I thought it might be nice to incorporate that along with our blue. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to get this rinsed out. I've got some paper towel over here somewhere. Rinse our little spongy brush. Get that kind of dried off. Alright, and then we're going to rinse our brush. So we can start with our green over here on the other side. So for this, what we're going to do is we're going to mix up our cool colors over here. And I'm going to go ahead and grab some of this white, pull that over, and we are going to grab some green and pull that over. And since that's a blue-green, we're going to grab some blue and mix that in. More blue. And we're going to add orange because that's too bright and we want to tone it down. Starting to get the idea, aren't we, ladies? Okay, so now see what happens when you get it too canceled out. You get brown. We don't want brown, we still want green. So we're going to mix in some more green. And we start to see it turn more olive, which is kind of what we want for down here. And we're going to add a little more blue. Not that much blue, but a little bit of blue to make some of it a little darker. A little bit more blue. Right in there. Okay, and so now we can dampen that a little bit and we can start with the lighter. Now don't get into that bright green just yet. We're going to go with the lighter stuff first. And we're going to start dabbing that in and blending it in with our picture. And we're going to go ahead and carry that over a little bit. Over this way. Because that's going to help it blend more. And we're going to get some of the darker, go down here with it. we might need to mix some more of that up because that didn't go very far, did it? Let's go ahead and mix some more. Let's make more. Mixing paint is so fun, y'all. I really like it. It's challenging to get the right color, to make it look the way you want it. But like I said earlier, if you know your color wheel, you can do that. You can get it any color you want if you know your color wheel. Because that is going to tell you what you need. And we're just going to do this. Because why waste it? Why waste it? We don't want to waste it, do we? No, we don't. So I'm just kind of dabbing that on. And we're going to add a little blue. Mix that in. And we're going to add a little green. Sometimes I like to do that, just add some full strength color in, because your eye enjoys that. Your eye enjoys mixing those colors together for you. And then we're going to get a little more white, so we can dab some of that in here. And blend it in with our picture. And transition that up to where we've got lighter blue. Oh, add a little more darker blue down here, darker blue green. Let's mix blue green. There we go, that's pretty. Mix some of that down in here. Okay. You kind of get the idea that we're making this look kind of like a painting now, right? Yep, that's what we're doing. And so yeah. Now we're gonna go, this is more light up here, so we're gonna get a big blob of white. And we're just going to mix that with our little sponge brush. And go up here and start patting that in. But we want a little bit of orange in there because it's not quite, it's not bright. It's kind of a muted, it's a muted color. It's a muted kind of a blue. Although it's light, it's still muted. So we're going to just keep dabbing away till we get it the way we want it. Now we're not distracting from our picture. We're actually drawing the eye in towards it with what we are doing. And I'm going to go ahead with some more light blue down here, because we want to make it look like they're in a heavenly place, right? That's kind of what my idea is. So we're just going to carry that around over here. And I'm going to take some of this down even into our picture. We lost a little bit of that color from sanding, so we can blend that in now and make that gorgeous. Okay, that looks really good. I might do a little bit more orange down here. Let me do that with a brush because I've gotten this blue already and I don't want it to be blue down there in that area. So I'm going to make just a little bit of a darker pink, pinky orangey red to go down there. I'm just going to kind of do that. Get this wet. Okay, blot that a little bit and just kind of blend it. You don't want to wipe your color completely out, you know, so just kind of dab at it. Just dab at it. And now we can start taking our color to the sides of the canvas, because we do want to go ahead and bring that down to our sides. We aren't going to frame this, so we want the sides of the canvas to be colored too. And so we're going to go ahead and bring that color down. Bring it up this way and kind of blend it this direction. And get some white. Make this a really light peachy pink, so we can kind of start heading up this way with it. Blending it as we go. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. You probably can't, but we're just basically, we're kind of going up the side of the canvas, making sure that it's all painted. And we're sticking with our hue. We're gonna make it match the rest of it. So that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna keep working around, trying not to stick our fingers in it, although it does dry pretty fast. And we're just gonna keep working around. I can't see what I'm doing now, so I'm just gonna kind of stop right there. Okay. I'm going to turn it this way so I can see. Okay, now we're kind of blended over. So we're going to do our blue now. So I'm going to rinse this off. And now I'm going to get some of my blue that I was working with a minute ago with our sponge brush. And I'm just going to continue on. Oops, that's way too dark. Let's get some white in there. I don't really want it that dark. See what I did? I got it too dark right in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some white and blend that in. And that'll be just fine. Nobody's really going to see the under part anyways. But, you know. I'm just going to go ahead and continue. That corner's a little darker, so I'm going to pull some dark. Put that in there. Trying to blend it in with the canvas that we've already painted. So, you know, this is starting to get lighter now, so we're going to pull from the white. And kind of blend that this way. Kind of going up. Blending as we go. Make sure you blend your sides because you don't want a line there. So blend it all in, ladies. Blend it all in. And let's continue around, and we're almost done with the edges. We're almost done with this part. Okay. Now see it's kind of blended, and it blends in with the picture. On all sides it's blended and blends in with the picture. And so when it's hanging against your wall, it's going to look like it's part of the painting, which it is. Okay, so let me go ahead and we're going to do one other thing that I like to do. We need to blend this a little better right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of get some orange and dab that in there and kind of blend that out some. Make that look like it's more part of our design there. There we go. I'm gonna have to blend it a little bit better. And same thing right there. Just gonna do that. Okay. Now, I don't know if this brush is stiff enough to do this, but I'm gonna try it. And see, what I like to do is get this a little wet. It's gotta be wet to do this. And we're gonna do that, basically, is what we're gonna do. And we're gonna do it up here. And we're just going to do it down the side here. And off over in here. And a little down here. And what that does is just kind of give it a little spattery effect. It makes it look older. And so I like that. We may do some more of that later, but for now I think that's good. And I'm going to let this dry, and then we'll come back and do some more. Looks good so far. Okay guys, we're back, and our canvas is pretty well dry. I'm going to place a butterfly stencil, a little butterfly right here. I'm going to stencil that on, and I'm kind of using the tackiness of the canvas that's still tacky to my advantage for that. It's helping me actually keep the stencil stuck down. So I've already got that in place. I had my flashlight on earlier. I don't know if you guys could see how pretty this was. With that on there, it was kind of creating a glare, so I turned it off, and I hope that makes it better. We'll find out. So anyways, I'm going to mix up. I want this to be pink. I want it to kind of be the color of this halo up here. So I am going to make a warm pink, hopefully out of this. And I'm going to mix in just a little bit of white so I can make sure what color it is that I'm using. I don't really want it to distract, I just want it to kind of lead the eye upward a little bit. So I'm going to lighten that up just a tad. But I do want it darker than this. So I'm going to try this and see what that does. Let us wet it just a little. Our sponge, and hope for the best. I don't want that color to seep under there. Hopefully it has not. Okay, and that is pretty. I love it. That turned out great. That's exactly what I wanted. So, that is wonderful. We're going to leave that right where it is. And now I've got some napkins torn out already. Rose napkins that I got from my friend Debbie at Kiki Sale. That is a Facebook group. And it is wonderful. If you want to join, please go there and request to join. Although you do have to answer all of the questions or she will not let you in. So make sure if you want to join, answer the questions so that you can be in. And let's see, what am I going to do? Do I want this whole thing in there? Do I want this angled a little bit? I don't want to cover up my butterfly, but I do kind of want that there. So I think I'm going to, I'm just going to wrap that around is what I'm going to do. So, okay, so let's go ahead and place that one. Doesn't really matter if I'm getting the Mod Podge everywhere. I just want enough to where I can stick this down. And that's not right next to my butterfly. That is kind of blending in with my canvas. So I think I got it in the perfect spot. Just gonna smooth it. Doesn't really matter to me if it is wrinkled, which it will be probably. And I'm just gonna go over it lightly with our brush. I really just, my aim is to have this become like kind of part of the painting, not necessarily stand out from it, but just kind of blend in with it, just as another element to the canvas. And I think we're going to be able to achieve that effect with this. I'm just going to wrap that around. And that tore a little bit, but that doesn't matter because that's on the side. Just going to tear it the rest of the way and get that off of there. And where's my skin? There it is. Okay. There we go. So we'll just leave that like it is. And then I've got another one that I've cut out that I'm going to put up here. To kind of balance that out, I'm just going to have it up here in this corner. And so we're going to just place that one. Our Mod Podge. Okay, that looks great, and I'm just going to go ahead and go over it. Okay, and that looks great. Guys, I'm going to go pop this in the oven real quick to speed this along for the dry time so we can continue, and I'll be back. Okay guys, welcome back. What I've done is I have baked this in the oven at 175 for about 15 minutes so that this Mod Podge, where we applicate, decoupage our roses on there, so that dried, and then I covered it, the whole thing I covered in a clear coat of gloss varnish, and then I baked it again for about 10 minutes. It doesn't take as long for the varnish to dry. And I did varnish on all sides of the canvas. So now we're ready to decorate it. I did decide I didn't like this butterfly after all. I thought it looked a little too modern. Also, it just, I don't know, the color distracted from the cherubs. So I decided to paint over it, and I'm going to glue this butterfly right there. Perfect. So we're going to do that now. And we're going to start decorating our canvas. We're going to start blinging this out, and it's going to be beautiful. Can't wait till it's all done. If y'all try this at home, you're going to have so much fun, because I have. I've had an immense amount of fun making this. It's been kind of trial and error, but pretty much all craft projects are, I think. Once you get going with them, sometimes things don't go right. Sometimes things don't look good, and it's always just kind of an experiment, sometimes in terror, how things are going to turn out, especially if things go awry while you're filming a video. That can be a little terrifying. You're like, oh no, I've ruined it. And then pretty soon you're on YouTube and you're a viral video because you've done something like burn your hair off like that one girl did. You know, in this case, you would be burning one of your fingers off. So that would not be good. Let's not do that. I think I would rather not have a viral video than to do that. Okay. So we've got Mr. Butterfly glued on there, and that looks pretty. I love it. And pretty much all I know basically right now is where I want these lace pieces to go. So I've got 2 corner pieces somewhere, and I want them to go in the corners. So I want one to go here. And where's my other one? Oh, it's around here somewhere. There it is. And I want the other one to go here. And I want them to go exactly there. So we're going to just put that. I'm using E6000. I'm sure there's other glues out there available, but I don't have any. So I'm going to use this up until I use it up. I'm not going to buy any more glue. I still want to try that Fabri-Tac. Happybird uses that all the time, and I'm dying to try it, but it's hard to find that. I think you have to get it on Amazon, maybe. I looked at Hobby Lobby. They didn't have it. I don't know where you get it at. I'm sure she has a link for it on one of her videos. I'm going to have to go check, or it's on her blog page or something. We'll find it. I'm sorry, I'm probably out of frame. I'm just trying to get this glue on this lace. That's all I'm doing. You're not missing anything. Okay, now I'm going to put that there. Oops, I don't want it down that far because we're going to put something else there. I want it right there. That'll work. That will be pretty. Okay, now this side, we'll do this side. I told y'all before, I tend to hold things close to my body because I feel like I can see them better, but then I forget that I'm not on camera and I'm filming a video. So, I apologize for that. I will try to get better at those things, so you guys can actually see what I'm doing, which is the whole point of a video. Okay, so I got that glued, and of course I get it all over me, so I do have a damp paper towel with me this time because I know I'm going to get this on me and it's going to be everywhere. And we want it to be kind of even Steven with that other one, and it is. I like it. Glue off. Glue off, please. Okay, now this applique can go on next, and I want it to go right here. Now you don't have to, once you get this done, you don't have to decorate it like I'm doing. If you wanted to stop right where you're at and frame that, you can do that, because it would look gorgeous just in a frame. My problem is, that was my original plan, but I could not find a frame that I like. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if it was the pandemic or what, but there's just not a good selection of frames out there right now. There's no grapevine wreaths. I don't know what people are doing right now. I guess they're making their own. I don't know. Could have done that here for sure. After that ice storm we had last October here in Oklahoma, so many tree branches down. We could have had grapevine wreaths for days. Stick wreaths. We could have made them. Not necessarily grapevine, but I'm sure we could have made it work. Been one of those make it work moments. And it might be because, you know, craft supplies in general have just been hard to come by these days. Although I have heard that the stuff from China is coming in a little faster now, which is nice. Sorry, I know I'm out of frame. I'm trying to see where to get this glue without getting it all over me. So like I said, you're not missing much. I'm just putting the glue on the lace part. I'm not putting it on the net. I'm not putting it on the connecting net because I don't want it to show, if at all humanly possible. It really doesn't take very much of this E6000. The other thing I don't like about E6000 is that it stinks to high heaven. It's really stinky. It's stinky glue. stinky. Probably get high sitting here and breathing this. I don't know, I've never done that before. Got high all glue while making crafts. Oh my goodness. Oh Lord, Rick, what do we talk about in here sometimes? But you know, you have to wonder because it really is stinky. I mean, it's stinky. You probably could get in trouble from sniffing these fumes for too long. I don't know. We might find out after we get done with this. I'm just going to tamp it down a little bit. There we go. That looks good. It's beautiful. I love this project, y'all. Oops, there goes my light again. I'm sorry. Every time I touch that touch lamp, I don't want to... I need a different kind of lamp, I guess. One that's not a touch lamp because I keep touching it. Okay, this is extra long. Do I want it that long or do I want it to kind of go up here? I think probably, do I want it to over? Not really. I think I'm just gonna go, and do I want it to go this way or this way? I kind of like the little flower there, so I would rather cut this piece off. Let's get our little tiny cutters. Our fussy cutters. That's what I call them because they're good for fussy cutting things. And we're going to stick that down right there. That's going to be so pretty, y'all. Okay, well, let me go ahead and get this stuck down. I'm just going to continue to work, guys. Okay guys, we're going to take a little break because I've got so much glue on here. I need to go wash it off before I continue because everything is sticking to me. I will be right back and we will finish this. Alright guys, let's wrap it up. Okay guys, I think that about wraps it up. I love how this has turned out. I think it's beautiful. I am going to remove all the glue strings, let this stuff dry a little bit, and then I will hang it and take a picture of it to show you guys what the final canvas looks like on the wall. Thank you for joining me today. It's been a lot of fun. I hope you will join me for the next one. And please don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you liked what you saw today on this video. See y'all later. Bye-bye.